We are back into open session, and in closed session, we discussed labor negotiations, public employee discipline, and student discipline, but no action was taken. And we are now going into open session, which is our business part of our meeting. And I am going to ask Bren if she would be so kind to lead us in the pledge.
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. And Mrs. Reed, would you like to talk a little bit about our workshop that we had at the 4 o'clock hour?
Thank you so much, President Hill. We had a great start to our evening. We were joined by Rossmore Elementary and the night community, Mrs. Quilty, as well as 2 really amazing student speakers and a royal choir that did a great rendition of 2 patriotic songs. Really talked about the year shining bright on campus and some of the amazing things happening at Rossmore. We also got to learn about their hero of the heart, Mrs. Tiffany Kapp, who's really made a great impact at Rossmore, and then really rounded out our evening by celebrating the District Teacher of the Year, Megan Avalos, who is also a teacher at Rossmore Elementary School.
Thank you so much. It was all Rossmore, and it was wonderful. Now we will move on to our student board report, and Ms. Schmidt, it's all yours.
Good evening, Madam President, Superintendent Pulver, Executive Cabinet, and members of the Los Alamitos community. My name is Brent Schmidt, and I'm honored to serve as your student representative to the Board of Education from Los Alamitos High School. Here is my report. Activities. Los Alamitos High School recently hosted its winter formal themed Gossip Girl, A Night in New York at Hangar 21 in Fullerton. This evening offered students a well-planned and engaging experience featuring activities such as poker, table tennis, pool, a photo booth, and an impressive dessert display. The venue was filled with energy as students enjoyed the opportunity to connect and celebrate together outside of the classroom. A highlight of the evening was the court recognition, with Sebastian Mock crowned king, Isla Nash crowned queen, Remy Hong as princess, and Philip Englehart as prince. Winter Formal was a tremendous success, providing a fun, safe, and memorable event that strengthened school spirit and reinforced the importance of positive shared experiences for our students. Academics. The high school recently hosted its first ever STEAM Day, welcoming middle school students in grades 7 through 8 for a hands-on introduction to the wide range of STEM electives offered on campus. The event was designed to give students an early glimpse into the innovative learning opportunities available to them as future high school students. Participants rotated through a variety of interactive experiences across campus. Students explored app development and computer science, observed the precision and teamwork of marching band, and engaged in creative expression through drama and photography. Some additional hands-on activities included an automation-based projects in 3D design, life-saving skills in emergency medical courses, and design challenges in engineering. Beyond academics, STEM Day provided a meaningful opportunity for our Lions and Eagles to envision themselves as future Griffins, fostering excitement and confidence about the transition to high school. Athletics. The Los Sal High School girls basketball team continues to demonstrate excellence both on and off the court this season. Led by captains Maya Asombrado and Tam Yoshida and guided by coach Maya Deonda, the team has earned an impressive 20-7 record. Their success reflects not only strong athletic performance, but also commitment to hard work. In addition to their success on the court, the team has been actively involved in supporting our life skills program over the past few months. The players hosted a Building Bridges event, leading a skills clinic during 4th and 5th period, adaptive physical education, and later welcomed life skills students to a JV girls basketball game where they sat together and cheered on the team. These experiences highlighted the team's leadership, inclusivity, and commitment to building meaningful connections across our campus community. The team will host the first round of CIF playoffs this Thursday at home, and the Los Al Locos are looking forward to supporting them as they begin postseason competition. We encourage our Griffin community to come out and show their support as the team represents Los Alamitos High School with pride and determination. Arts. The Los Alamitos Unified School District recently hosted its second annual all-district art show, featuring visual artwork from students across all 9 schools. The event showcased pieces created in art classes and was made possible through collaboration with lead art teachers at each school who were responsible for selecting the works displayed. At the elementary level, schools strive to include at least one piece from each student, resulting in the largest volume of artwork and ensuring broad representation. This approach reflects the district's commitment to encouragement and inclusivity in the arts. At the middle and high school levels, selections are more curated and primarily driven by the teachers to represent the depth and rigor of their curriculum. The event was well attended by families and community members, creating a meaningful opportunity to celebrate student creativity and artistic growth. Student life. With graduation just 4 months away, many seniors at Los Al High School are actively planning their next steps after high school. Students are pursuing a variety of paths, including enlisting in the armed forces, attending four-year universities, enrolling in junior colleges, entering trades programs, or joining the workforce immediately. While this season can feel both exciting and overwhelming, it is encouraging to see students thoughtfully considering the options that best align with their goals and aspirations. There's no single correct path after high school, only the path that is right for each individual. And our senior class is embracing that reality with resilience and determination as they prepare for the next chapter. We are especially grateful for the continued guidance and support from our counselors, teachers, and staff who help students navigate this important transition with confidence. Student Spotlight. To close out my report, I would like to highlight an exceptional Griffin, Connor Fox. Connor began his journey in the district as a Tiger at LAE, then became an Eagle at McAuliffe, and is now a proud senior at Los Alamitos High School. He is highly involved on campus, being a part of several music courses, including Jazz 1, Wind Symphony, Marching Band, Pep Band, and Indoor Drumline. He is also part of CSF, NHS, Vice President of ACS, and the President of Tri-M Music Honor Society. Recently, Connor won an award in Florida called the Beacon Award. It honors students who ignite pride and enthusiasm at every event on and off the field. Through exemplary character, inclusive leadership, and an unwavering commitment to their team and school community, this recipient serves as a role model who inspires unity, motivation, and joy in all they do. He was nominated by Mr. Buchan and was presented the award at the D1 National School Spirit Championships. While still exploring college options, he wants to attend Florida College. His favorite part about being a Griffin is how he has the opportunity and ability to do all the fun band-related activities that have defined his time as a Griffin. Outside of school, Connor volunteers with the SoCal chapter of the Hutchinson Bell, but most of his time is taken up with a plethora of music activities. Connor's kindness, leadership, and dedication make him an outstanding role model, and I am proud to feature him in this month's Student Spotlight. With that, I would like to close out my report with any and all questions from the board.
Thank you very much. I have one quick question. I understand the king and the queen. What is the prince and the princess?
Those are juniors. Juniors. Yeah, so Sebastian and Isla are both seniors, and then Remy and Philip are both juniors.
Great, thank you for that. Does the board have any further questions? Mr. Bragman?
I really appreciate you highlighting the STEAM Expo. I know that I wasn't able to make it. I had another board commitment that morning, but had lots of friends, children go and said it was amazing. And so that to have that and then have the art show following that, there were people that stayed really for the whole time and got so much out of it, and I think really saw their paths. And I know there were some students that I talked to who said they were interested in ceramics because they had never actually seen ceramics before. So thank you for highlighting that. I think it's also a huge shout out to, I know the middle school principals help plan that and coordinate that along with Ms. Krause. So to have the whole team come together to make sure their Lions and our Eagles are ready to go when they're Griffins, that's awesome. So thank you.
Great point, Mr. Bragman. Mr. Forham.
Yes, I just want you to know you just shortened my speech during board communications by many items, so good job.
Well done. Thank you so much, Brent. Great job. Thank you. We're really enjoying your reports this year. And I'm really glad you're not doing a countdown because I don't want to think about that. So next we will have Dr. Pulver's superintendent report.
Thank you, Madam President, esteemed members of the board. It's my pleasure to present on a number of different topics tonight, but one I just wanted to share. I'm always amazed by our parent community. And you know, earlier today, we honor us, each school gets to recognize a hero of the heart, of individuals who go above and beyond and give so much back at the school. Today, I was part of the Rotary Club in Los Alamitos, Seal Beach, and Cypress. And they had a Valentine fundraiser, and Mrs. Davidson was actually one of the key organizers of the event, and Mrs. Hill attended as well in your role of two roles as the executive director of Pathways to Independence. And what our Rotary Club is trying to do is to raise money for a lot of our nonprofits, and we are lucky to have a community. So many of our nonprofits are very youth-centered and youth-based to support. Or family-centered in that sense. And so the fundraiser was to support various ones. And when I was there, I could not help but to suddenly see three individuals who just stood out to me. They were parents when I was principal at Lee: Christy Putnam, who was our PTA president, Allie Jones, who was our PTA president, and Debbie Neary, who was our Project LEAP, heavily involved. And to see their kids have long gone through our district. But they were there to support the We Care nonprofit organization, and just to continue to see how people in this community support one another and to support our youth and to support those in need is really, I think, what makes this such a rich and wonderful community to be part of. And then in that, Rotary recognized Mr. Dave Appling as the Heart for Service Award and received, Mrs. Hill gave on behalf of the school board a certificate of appreciation, which I'm sure she'll share a little bit more. But just incredible people who do so much for this community and get very little recognition. So that was pretty inspiring. And then I also want to extend an invitation to the entire community. We have a very fun evening coming up this Thursday evening where Dr. Weishreit and myself will be the judges again for our third annual district staff improv show. And so they'll be, this is headed up by Mr. Dave Barker, who's a teacher at Los Alamitos High School, who runs the improv program for students. And our staff get to participate in an improv. And so our kids can see their teachers or their staff members or their principal participate in improv. And so that will be Thursday from 6 to 8:30 at February 12th. And I would encourage everyone. And it's really fun and silly. Today, Rossmore was our school, and Rossmore's staff is the one who took the first prize last year. And so we'll see who wins first prize. But the fundraiser also supports our drama students. And so for students who are having to travel for some of the thespian and other awards. So if you can make it out, we would encourage you to attend. The other thing that I wanted to focus in on is really, which I often do in the month of February, is to really put a spotlight on our career technical education programs that we offer here in Los Alamitos Unified. Because as you heard even Bryn earlier talk about, there is no single pathway for students when you were talking about our seniors who are really contemplating which way they're going, whether it's a 4-year, whether it's a community college, whether it's straight out into the workforce, or really even some type of trade. But last board meeting in January, the board approved and recognized as February being honoring the month of February as Career Technical Education Month. And so I thought I'd spend some time to really just kind of unpack and share to our community the vast ways that we offer career technical education programs and a new way that we're looking to expand for next school year. And so currently our high school has 7 integrated pathways. And within those pathways, then there's 18 different CTE courses that are being offered. But here's the amazing thing. 951 of our students are participating in CTE. You know, if you think we're just shy of 3,000 kids, and that's pretty incredible. Almost a third of our students are enrolled in some type of CTE program. And so, but I thought I would just find a ways to be able to kind of identify what our core pathways are. And our CTE pathways, when students get enrolled in them, they're either a 2-year pathway or a 3-year pathway. So some of our courses are 3 years, some of our pathways are a 3-year pathway, and some are 2. It's probably a little bit easier where there's so many different competing needs for our students' schedules for them to have a 2-year career technical education pathway, but some of them are also 3 years. So engineering and design, and you can see the courses that make up, there are several ones that make up that is a 3-year pathway from my understanding. Our biomedical pathway is one of our more recent pathways that's now probably 3+, maybe 4 years. That's a 2-year pathway that really opens up anatomy, physiology, forensics, medicine, and research. Kind of 2 within that as well. We have a really specified sports medicine as well, which is another 2-year career technical education pathway. So the pathways, whether they're 2 or 3, just really kind of vary on design. We have film and video, which is another pathway. And as you see, our focus studios do so many different videos and projects for that benefit not only the Los Alamitos High School, but district-wide. Technical theater, and they do both stage design, costuming, lighting, sound, et cetera. That's a 2-year program as well. Public safety, it's really fire safety and EMT. And that is what's really powerful about that. We partner with North Orange County ROP to provide this CTE pathway, and they are great partners. And when our students finish, we're one of the few high schools that has a program that students, they have to be 18 years old to get past to get their EMT certification, but they will be able to take and pass that course and become EMTs right out of high school. And so I think there's very few high schools that have that option available to their students. And then software systems development we have as well, which is really kind of our computer programming, et cetera. And we're adding a new class that I'll talk about in a little bit there, which is an intro class. And they're calling it, so this will now kind of add a 3rd level of class for that, kind of an intro class. And it's called AP Kickstart Cybersecurity and Intro to Computer Science. And so this is another area that AP is kind of trying to take a look at expanding. A little bit different than the traditional AP program. They're calling it AP Kickstart, that if they complete that course, they will get AP certification. They haven't made determination yet if they're going to be a formal test or just the completion. A lot of it is some of it is project-based as well. And so that will kind of be integrated within our AP Computer Science Principles pathway as well. But I'm also excited to say, and you've heard me allude to this and talk about this in different opportunities this year, is that we are using this year to expand our pathway, our 8th pathway now that will start next year. And it's a business and entrepreneurship pathway. And this will be potentially a 3-year program as well. Our first course will start off another AP Kickstart class. And so it's AP Kickstart Business with Personal Finance. And so it's a college level introduction to the disciplines of marketing, accounting, and management. And in that, they'll do some portfolio projects that'll be part of the way that they get certified for the AP certification. And they'll do a business canvas project. They'll do a financial advisor project. And then over the course of the next 2 years, we'll be introducing the other 2 courses so that throughout that process, there'll be a 3-year pathway that builds into the entrepreneurship and leadership leadership skills for future business leaders. And I share this at our State of the District, but our district was recognized by Orange County Department of Education for having the highest growth of student participation in CTE programs, number one. So really, really impressive. And so you can see as we're looking to really kind of merge this concept of advanced placement with career technical education as well. And so that's kind of a neat marriage, I think, taking a look at these AP Career Kickstart opportunities. And so we're excited to take a look at that and be able to offer that to our students next school year. In addition, as part of the CTE aspects, we do even have some of the seeds of it, really, quite honestly, at our middle school programs. And a lot of it is through middle school exploration, but both McAuliffe and Oak STEM classes bridge CTE aligned lessons through engineering and computer science. They'll do 3D modeling, battle bots, and game design. And then we've also tried to provide more internship opportunities. And so here at the high school and with our partnership with North Orange County ROP, our juniors and seniors can gain, if they're part of that internship program, 80 plus hours of on-site industry experience while earning high school credit, which is really phenomenal. And so it's kind of this overarching collaboration with us, along with the Orange County Department of Education, OC Pathways, et cetera. So we're really excited. And there's just a plethora of options to be able to make things possible for all of our Griffins. Moving on from CTE, I wanted to be able to highlight our Rock Stars of the Month. It's a wonderful program that HR really kind of highlights. Our staff get to nominate other employees for who was a rock star for that month, and we recognize a certificated and a classified employee. And so last week we got to recognize and honor Matt Maya, who is a science teacher. He's a lead science teacher at McAuliffe Middle School and was named our rock star of the month for the month of January. And he's brought so many other ways he was teaching at another one of our middle schools, at Oak Middle School, and it came over to McAuliffe. And as part of their astronomy night that McAuliffe created, and just really finding ways to kind of make science come to life. And so we're really pleased to be able to recognize him. And then Carrie McKemmy, who is an instructional aide working with our students with special needs. And she works at Hopkinton Elementary, and she just goes above and beyond and finds so many ways to kind of support some of our students who need us the most. And she does so with always just a smile, compassion, and care. And is such a wonderful support both to our staff that she and our students. So congratulations to Matt and Carrie as being our Rock Star of the Month. And then this has been the season where we've been able to kind of announce our Employees of the Year. And so we now have finished all of them. And so I want to just recap, because I don't know if I've brought them forward in my superintendent's report, but you will see them at future board meetings when we recognize them, and we've already recognized now too. But for classified, we were able to recognize 3 classified employees in different classifications. Miss Carrie Pallone, who's the school office coordinator at McGaw Elementary, is our classified employee of the year. And for classified, because there's so many different categories, she is representing the clerical and administrative services. And then that will move forward in the Orange County classified employee program. We have Lillian Ford Patterson, who works at Los Alamitos High School. She's the work-based learning technician. She works within the College and Career Center as well. And she just does an amazing job to really keep our kids connected, to find different ways, to different programs for them. And so she's always someone who goes above and beyond. Such joy, that smile just radiates always. And so we're pleased to be able to recognize her when it's the high school's board report. And then April Quinones, who's an instructional aide, and she's currently has been working at Oak Middle School, but has worked at multiple school sites, summer school, etc. She is another one who just will take on any challenge and does so with such dignity and such grace and poise and enthusiasm and passion, and just can find ways to make just provide additional support for our students who need us. And so she's really was fun to be able to recognize at Oak Middle School. And then our district employee of the year, we've created this classification a few years ago because there are certain categories that the county doesn't offer. And that's our TOSAs, our counselors, our psychologists, et cetera. And so Jenny Bain, who is our district program, she's not quite a program coordinator. I think she's a behavior specialist, and she is our employee of the year who has worked flawlessly, and she's just really unflappable, goes above and beyond supporting our students. She provides a lot of support to our, we have almost 200 instructional aides, and if there's a last minute change or someone's sick or someone needs additional coverage or additional behavior supports, and she'll help support the team. So she does just a phenomenal job. So we got to recognize her. And then as you saw earlier today at the workshop, we got to recognize Megan Avalos. As our district our size, we only get to recognize one teacher of the year through the county program. And Megan Avalos was selected. And I hope you tune into the workshop because we said a lot more things about her, but she's worked for us for 14 years. And she has been a mentor. Not only she's superb in her craft and always wanting to improve her craft, but she's also wants to help improve the profession. She's been a mentored teacher for new teachers for 6-7 years. She's been our assistant principal or principal of the summer school for 5 years at our elementary program, and a myriad of other ways. And then Dr. Dan Bennett has been selected as our district administrator of the year. And Dan really serves kind of two roles. His true title is ed tech coordinator, but in a small district, as you guys well are aware, we wear a lot of hats. And he actually, through that as well, oversees a lot of and support for our career technical education programs, along with Mrs. Davis. And so Dan kind of supports both programs there, both through CTE and ed tech. And that concludes my report for this evening.
Thank you so much, Dr. Pulver. And that was really wonderful information that you shared about CTE and how important that really is in our district. I think that sometimes there's a misconception about our district and those things that we support. And thank you very much for doing that. That was extraordinary. So we will now go on to board communication. And I think I'll start on my right with Mr. Bragman.
Thank you, Madam President. I can be shorter probably than a lot. I know a lot of us probably will talk about open house, but really the first thing I really wanted to highlight was open house last week for our elementary schools. I know board members, many of us were able to attend open houses at sites throughout the district, and I know I was able to be at McGaw, and it was just an unbelievable night. We heard from Rossmore, who talked about their STEM Expo. I actually had my number that I was told over 200 participants in the STEM Expo at McGaw. It was same thing, 3 rooms. It was the art room, the library media center. It took over the tech space. It was just vibrant and it was alive. It was so fun. It was hot with how many kids there were there. It was dark and cold outside, but it was hot in that room because it was crowded. But to see students also, I know I really wanted to be a student. So to go in and talk to kids, I had one student who made cookies. And what was the difference if you change one element of a cookie every time, right? And so she talked about what was going to be drier or softer or harder or saltier or whatever. And then she had the cookies. You could try them. She even had gluten-free ones for the gluten-free audience. But we had students that were really engaged. And it was really fun to see also how much of the student work was there. Not parent work, because sometimes you see those STEM expos, but student work. And it was really, really a fun thing to see. And so I'm glad to see that happened in many other schools across the district. And then to follow it up by going to every classroom. I know Ms. Wood, I really appreciated it. It was probably the same experience that people had, but Ms. Wood took me class to class, getting to experience it. And it was also fun to engage with parents. There was the parents that were there that were learning from their kids. Open house is always fun because it's not the teachers leading it, it's the kids leading it, right? The kids are talking about why they have created these different creations, whether it was, I saw, what would I do if I was president? My favorite part of myself, that students are explaining to the people. And I even caught a few parents of non-LaSalle School District kids that were checking it out. I was in a TK classroom where there were some parents in there that were wanting to learn more about our TK program and getting to visit and scope it out. Is this right? Is my kid ready for this next year? And to talk to parents. So I love also that it's an open house, which is really open to the community, so that people can come and explore and see what it's like. So I highly recommend for people to be able to take that opportunity and visit schools and be able to have that in the future. And looking forward to seeing it at the middle school, it coming up soon too. So Great time at open house. And the other thing I wanted to share is, I know we oftentimes talk about the committees that we're on. I really want to give a big shout out to Ms. Garcia for planning, leading a really informative safety and wellness committee. I know you're sitting there in the back. The meeting that we had last week was super informative, talking about all the things that happen behind the scenes to keep our schools safe. But I really loved that you brought one of our district nurses on. So Ms. Jessica Catania, who is a district nurse. We so often think about nurses at the site that are putting Band-Aids on kids that trip during lunch, but we don't think about all the work that happens behind the scenes. She was talking about working with Annie Rayu in food services and making sure we're aware of food allergies and how many things we need to order. She's talking about making sure we have the right EpiPens and that we have AEDs and that we have Narcan and when are we keeping the expiration dates. And so to understand all of the things we do to make sure that we keep our students safe and well on our campuses, we talk sometimes about their physical health, we talk about their mental health, but you don't think about all the things we do. And this is a nurse, not like the nurse we oftentimes think about in a school who's just there to help the kid that fell and scraped their knee at lunch. So really thank you for highlighting her and bringing that together and seeing all the things that happen behind the scenes to keep our students well and safe. It made me really joyous to be part of that committee. Anyone that is a part of that committee would come away from it more educated and more informed about what we do every day to day. And I also huge shout out to Ms. Catania and all of our nursing staff that do that every day. So with that, I will hand it back off to you, Madam President.
Thank you very much. Mr. Forham.
Well, Bryn took almost all my speech, but I will start out with how great it is to see us reaching back to the middle school for the STEM event. And then also I felt like I was in New York at the Metropolitan Art Museum because of the display of student artwork. It was just great. But a shout out to all the staff that were there to make this happen. And speak of reaching out, you did not include this one. We have a LoSal dance team at McAuliffe and at Oak. And I want to compliment our high school kids and teacher for reaching down there. We have 2 staff members that take each one. And recently they finished first and second in their competition. And I am the rep for and now I'm the president of the SELPA board, but the SELPA board, I want to remind everybody that they will be honoring parents and staff in our district with their CAC, that's their Community Advisory Committee Awards on April 15th. So now's the time to submit that type of application to honor those that make a difference. Then Saturday is the Model United Nations team, where they host an event right here at our high school, and kids from surrounding school districts will participate in debates similar to the United Nations on topics such as equity, climate change, and other current civic events. And I've been there before, and I also see how much they've developed their ability to lead, diplomacy, conflict resolution, and teamwork. And I'm always convinced that the world would be a better place just because of these kids. And then the CTE, Dr. Pulver went into great depth, but they also produce a monthly newsletter, and I think it's wonderful. They always highlight a student who is, in addition to attending high school, in doing some type of work. And this time they chose someone, his name is John Park, who really exemplifies CT pathway in computer science. And he's taking what he's learning in the classroom at LoSal, then he's interning at LoSal, and maybe perhaps he'll take it on to college as a major, and then perhaps a career in computer science. So it's all good. You mentioned the STEM fairs were incredible, and I want to make a comment about open house. Although it was early, you could see on the 110th day of school, it was simply amazing. Everything the kids have now already learned. And it's just kudos to the staff for how they show visitors all they've done this part of the year. And then again, Bren, you took Connor Fox off my ending statement, but I wanted to just shout out again, as the senior drum major at LoSal, he placed first in the whole nation for the Beacon Spirit of the Year national winner. He truly embodies leadership, character, and community spirit. Way to go, Connor. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Forham. Mrs. Davidson.
So, Bren, I have a lot of crossed out parts too. So thank you. That was good. And Dr. Pulver, a few too. First, I want to comment on Matt Maya getting rock star. A few days ago, I had one of my close friends who teaches math at the middle school was over at our house and commented. He's at McAuliffe. Commented on how vibrant, how exciting the atmosphere is at McAuliffe now with this a whole new science staff with some new math teachers and Mr. Maya coming over and taking on this leadership role. He said it's just like everything is energized and we're ready to go. So it was, and this is a person who's highly revered and very, doesn't throw out praise unless it's deserved. So thank you, Mr. Maya. I was able to go through a couple of walkthroughs at Hopkinson and Weaver, two absolutely outstanding schools with fabulous administrators in Mr. Farver and Dr. Schmidt. What you see in the classrooms never ceases to astound me. The quality of leadership, engagement, the kind of work that students are doing and the way they can tell you about it, even if they're in second grade. They understand what they're supposed to be learning, how they're learning, and the process, because it's been so well articulated to them and they've been given so much support. So both schools are absolutely outstanding in a million ways. I could be here till midnight. I went to Los Alamitos Elementary for open house, same feeling. I went first to CDC to the preschool, and it was just adorable. It was one classroom, and the teacher had given them little drawn out maps for them to take their parents on a mapped tour of the classroom and showing them their work. And they were so proud and showing them the babies that they dress and take care of every day and their Lego work and their artwork and the little animals in the aquarium, some of them a little strange. But it was a wonderful experience. And then to go through classrooms, as a parent, you get to spend that whole hour and a half, if you don't have to split it with your child's work. I felt like I was in a race, because there are so many classrooms, you don't want to miss anything, and you step into the classroom. And having taught for 25 years, I will tell you, saying to me that the open house would be this early in the year would be terrifying, because you're building towards something. And in the midst of it, we're also doing a lot of assessing. And so to be able to create the kind of work that I saw on the walls, student produced, I mean, multiple paragraph essays in third grade. And I could tell you what science units were going on by the work that was displayed there, and so much of it very visual, very, very beautiful. I walk into fourth grade, and they're doing, I'm in fourth grade, there's California history everywhere. So the classes really reflected the learning, and it made me so proud to be in this district. That I agree with Matt, with Mr. Bragman, the Safety Wellness Committee. Thank you, Mrs. Garcia. You were absolutely outstanding. And what I want to say, you work at the very minute one-on-one student level. You take care of individual students, but you and your team take care of the rest of the district in such ways that you build training, you build knowledge, and you build safety nets for our students by educating all of us. So thank you so much. And to Cabinet and your teams for TK Information Night. That was absolutely amazing. The auditorium, the PAC at the high school was full, and it was full of very young, very nervous parents. And you could just see their loads being lightened as you informed them, answered their questions. Some of them were hysterical, but you dealt with them with such honesty and truth and comfort and knowledge that by the end of the evening, you could see that they were all walking away smiling and ready to launch their children. So thank you. The STEM experience at the high school was amazing. So I'm not going to elaborate on that anymore than to say every classroom they were accomplishing in 45 minutes what I can't imagine doing in a month. It was absolutely incredible. But what I want to thank is the staff. Those teachers volunteered their time. They were not paid for that day. It was voluntary. And they created all of the curriculum, they created the lessons, it was all self-directed, self-motivated, and so they gave up their time for our kids in order to build a bridge from middle school to high school. And you could see the kids really engaging and enjoying it. And as for choir, we got to see the choir performance. It was absolutely outstanding. They previewed some of their acts for the national competition, and they were absolutely incredible as always. Look forward to them doing really well and wish them the best of luck. I'm on the Board of Trustees for North Orange County ROP, so this CTE month is really very relevant to my experience. And as a member of this board, I get to go visit other campuses. And so I got to go to Placentia Access, which is a special small campus where we have kids, a few that go, but they draw students from all over the county who may have missed out on units. It may have been sickness. It may have been a behavioral issue and they were pulled from school for a while. But I had no real picture in my mind of what that program was like. We went into the classrooms and they were learning how, there was a CTE program in which they were learning how to do stenciling and create stickers and screen t-shirts. So for kids looking for a trade, young people looking for a trade. But then they also get to complete units, and they had each student's name up with a map of each, and they moved along this map as they finished their English units, as they finished their math units. And I saw the language arts books they were using. They were using high quality novels. And it made me feel so much better to know that if you have to leave our campus for a while, there are really good options. We just want you to come back. And I also got to go to Western High School, which is it was precious to me because I graduated from Western High School. We were the last class to be bussed out of Rossmore and Los Alamitos before LaSalle opened. Once again, I am very ancient. But at Western, we visited their CTE and ROP programs. And ROP and CTE they cater to the population on a campus. So yes, our entrepreneurship and business is a calling that is a class that pathway we want to offer students in our community because there's a market for it, there's an interest for it. Other schools, Western, we visited their construction site, and they literally have gigantic machines that require a lot of safety training, and we had to wear the goggles in. And the first year students were building wooden birdhouses where you had to cut the angles, do all of the wood. But if you stuck with it, in the midst of this gigantic warehouse was a tiny house. Those are the houses that they build, and it has plumbing, shower, sink, it has plumbing in it. And that is a third-year project that the whole class builds this house, and then it's donated for someone to live in. So it's pretty amazing what they accomplish in 3 years of training. We also went to the public health pathway, and the students were working in partners. They had interviewed people, a select group of people, about what are your issues in getting health care, what problems do you encounter, what kind of help would you like? And each partner, group of two students identified a need, did research, and they're working in conjunction with Providence St. Jude. They got a grant. They're working with Providence St. Jude to create a solution to the problem, in which they do a whole visual online presentation. They do their speeches. They take the information from the research and link it to the questions and create a response to how to deal with the issues these people specifically addressed. And then each group presents to the class. There are 4 classes. Each class picks one group, and then from the one group, the 4 classes compete amongst the one best team from each room, and then they will go present their program to Providence St. Jude's. And what I found in all of these programs, and we went to industrial design too, and they were working with the art department to create murals on the walls of Western High School. But one of the most important parts of CTE and ROP that I see are the leadership qualities that they're developing in these students. Not necessarily the students in every case that would have been student government leaders or out there up in front of everybody, but each room they assign ambassadors. We had students lead us through everything. These ambassadors come to ROP board meetings and present, but they develop skills for interviews. They tell you how to dress. They teach you how to listen to other people and respond appropriately. So CTE is much more than just building the birdhouse or even learning how to do CPR. It's like it's training these kids in ways that develop them as human beings and put them out in the business world so that they can function at a much higher level. So I'm so appreciative of the fact I get to be part of this program, and I'm really looking forward to the entrepreneurship, the business pathway. So that's it for me.
Mrs. Partisani.
Okay, thank you. Well, I will just share some highlights that have not been touched on. First, I went to the, I am part of the AI task force that is underway, and their first meeting for grades 6 through 12, there's 2 task force, one for upper level and one for elementary. And the task force for grades 6 through 12 had its first meeting, and they dug into some recommended AI policy. They proposed some thoughtful changes. And the team is meeting again this week to keep building some practical guidance for teaching and learning. And I'm just really encouraged by this because of how collaborative this effort is. We had lots of people in the room, but also the focus is on learning, on how do we make sure that effective learning takes place in the world influenced by AI. Next, as you all may know, as it is important to all of us, but it's very important for me to have two-way communication with our community. And as part of that, I'm just really glad that we revised the PT Council format so that every board member can engage with this key group. And last month, I got a chance to go to their meeting and hear firsthand from parent volunteers what's working, where some extra support could be helpful. And I just find this sort of feedback from the people that are on the ground on our campuses just invaluable. So I appreciate that opportunity. Then I got to attend the LaSalle Improv show, and I'm led by Mr. Barker. And what a gem of a program that is. You know, it's watching our Griffins take risks. Have an amazing time, be hilarious. And it's all done in this really supportive and safe environment created by Mr. Barker. And I was just so, it was just such a joy to watch. And yes, I will be there on Thursday because I like to see our staff, give improv a try, and let's see how they do. So I'll make sure to report back for those who may not participate or may not be there to observe. And finally, I want to end it with 2 quick shout outs. First, a big shout out to Hopkinson, their second grade team for making learning come alive. You know, you heard Dr. Pulver talk about that how on each of our campuses, our teachers really go above and beyond to make learning applicable and, like we said, come alive. And their second grade team, what I learned during a recent walkthrough was that they take a yearly field trip to In-N-Out, where kids learn about goods and services firsthand. They get to, really understand from the employees of how In-N-Out operates. And then they take that learning and they write personal narratives. And this is second grade. They write personal narratives about what they learned in the classroom. And, as we were going through, I kind of leaned over and I looked at some of the writing, and I was just in awe. And I said, if this is such a fun, real world way of teaching our kids. And I just really appreciate it that team does this on a yearly basis. And I hear it's really hard to get into In-N-Out. So the fact that they're able to make that happen every year is a big deal. And then secondly, I want to give a shout out to our wonderful ASB team at the high school under the leadership of Mrs. Lavash and Mrs. Shanaker. I got a chance to watch the all-school winter assembly that's put on by ASB students for students. Watching the collaboration between ASB, film, the winter sports teams, dance, cheer, band, our staff gets involved, was just, and many more that I probably apologies if I didn't see you, but there's a ton of people behind the scenes that are really supporting this assembly. And it's, they're able to keep approximately 3,000 students engaged, cheering, participating in these games. It was just such a such a magical experience to observe. And really, my hat's off to our ASB team. You know, they are always behind the scenes doing so much for our students to really elevate all of our students. And I'm just so proud of that program. And just lastly, you know, it was really hard to really choose these two to shout out, because really a big, huge thank you to all of our amazing teachers that go above and beyond, making learning meaningful and really creating an environment where our students thrive. So thank you. And I'll give that to you.
Mrs. Davidson.
I did goof up. I had promised the superintendent at ROP that I would mention in the summer. So we talk about the wood, the buildings, or the public health pathway. If something isn't provided in a district, this is a consortium of districts. In the summer, our students can go and take a course in building. They can take a course. They can pursue the pathway through another district and bring the units back. And I said, wow, I don't know. I mean, I guess we don't know about that. And they said, oh, no, your school's doing a really good job of sharing it. You just didn't know about it. And that Los Alamitos High School has one of the highest percentages of students participating in their summer programs. So if we don't offer it, then it's available in another way. And our fire science courses are taken by other students during the summer. So that's the point of having a consortium with other districts. Thank you.
No problem. I will be pretty quick. So I like to tie my communication to our goals and our core values. And I had an opportunity to go to a boys basketball game. And while I was sitting there, I realized that there were a lot of teachers. I was there with my husband, and there were a lot of teachers in the crowd. And he pointed that out, and I didn't think twice about it because I'm used to seeing so much of our amazing staff at various events. But I love that, and I really tie this to core value of care that we're trying to teach our students. We foster a culture of kindness where everyone is treated with dignity, respect. Individuals seek to understand all points of view. And the players invited their teachers to this game. And I just thought that was really amazing, and that they reciprocated, and that they actually came and were there to cheer them on. So I love that those things are so embedded in who we are and in our culture. So and we won. So that was always good. When we talk about communication and having open communication, our bargaining units and LAEA, which is, and I had an opportunity to meet with some of the teachers that are in leadership and really listen to what their main concerns were and do it. They understand that I am one board member, and we work as a 5-member board, but being able to hear from different perspectives. And I think also them hearing from me, from my perspective, them not knowing who I am or what experience I have or where my values lie, and how much I got an opportunity to just really express how much I value them and the professionalism that they bring and that they want, and the care that they want to give our students. So that was a really wonderful opportunity as well. On a little personal note, I have my neighbors have 3 children, and one is a senior in high school and 2 are 8th graders over at Oak. And the senior in high school went to winter formal, and his mother asked if they could take pictures in front of my house. I don't know why. She said, because I had twinkly lights. I'm like, okay. But it was wonderful. And I left them to do their thing, but I looked out my window, and it was really such a gift to be given, to see them all there and so excited and all dressed up. And I learned that now, and Brent, correct me if I'm wrong, but instead of necessarily corsages, it's like a little bouquet seems to be more the flower thing. At least that's what I saw. So, I love seeing these trends, but that was a real gift. And our students are so beautiful. And when I say beautiful, I mean, they're beautiful inside and outside. They are so well behaved. Their parents are there, and they're all in and so respectful. So that was a little bit of a joy I got. And just to piggyback on what Dr. Pulver said about the Rotary event today, to me that really goes to goal 3, which is really fostering collaboration, partnership, shared responsibility among students, families, staff, and the community as a whole. And to see so much of our community come together to support our local nonprofits, to support our Rotary Club, and really to honor a very, very special gentleman. Mr. Appling, to me, is that role model of who I hope that I can be in this community. And he, I said today, when he tapped me on the shoulder to get involved with LAIF, it was a lesson in learning service about self and how to give back to a community when you are not benefiting from anything. All you're benefiting from is the future and what that future looks like. And this gentleman, in so many different ways in our community, in our school district, has done that. And it was just an honor for me to get to present him with a certificate from the board and from the district. So thank you all for that opportunity and that honor. And thank you for being a Rotarian. Thank you for being a Rotarian. It was an amazing job. So yes, Mr. Bragman.
You reminded me of something I was going to say with Bryn, and then I think it's important to call attention to. If anyone watching on YouTube is bored the next few days, there is a lot happening in the district. We have McAuliffe Choir show tomorrow, and then CIF sports. We have boys soccer at 5 o'clock tomorrow on campus, boys basketball at 7 o'clock. There's food trucks that are going to be there, so you can just have dinner and stay for both. And then on Thursday, tomorrow's Wednesday. On Thursday, girls soccer and girls basketball will be on campus, I think, too. So amazing time for our sports and athletics. So I know ASB is always out there, and we heard about the Locos, that we saw the girls basketball highlighted, but go to games, show them support. If you like sports or you don't like sports, you want to watch the cheer or the band or whatever, there's something to do the next few nights. You should not be at home bored on your couch.
I love that. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. That concludes our board communication. And now we have the opportunity, and really welcome the opportunity, to hear from our public. And so this is public comments, and I have one card, so I will read this small, short disclaimer. The board welcomes input from the public. This is an opportunity for community members to provide public comment to the board on agenda items and items not listed on the agenda. Persons wishing to address the board should complete a speaker request card at the start of the meeting, and each speaker is limited to 3 minutes of public comment and limited for a total of 30. Comment cards can be submitted to the district office anytime after 9 a.m. on the day of a board meeting, and will also be accepted up until 6 p.m. of the board meeting. A speaker may not relinquish their time to another speaker. When addressing the board, speakers are requested to address the board from the podium, state their name, and adhere to the time limits. The board may not take any action or discuss the item not appearing or post on a posted agenda, and cannot immediately respond to public comments. That's the hardest part for us. Speakers are cautioned that under California law, no person is immune from liability for making intentionally false or defamatory comments regarding any person simply because those comments are made at a public meeting. So with that all being said, I have one card, and it is from Diana Newton.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for allowing me a couple moments here to speak. My name is Diana Newton, and I am a member of the LAIF Board of Directors. I began serving on the board in July, but I have been supporting LAIF since 2013, in fact, before I had children. So education is a big part of my heart and soul. I now have 2 wonderful boys who attend Rossmore Elementary School, and my husband also attended the school in the district, proudly graduating from Los Alamitos in 2002, somewhat surprisingly. But it was really wonderful to hear the report that was given by Mrs. Colty earlier about Rossmore. I'm at the school almost every day of the week, so I see all the wonderful things that are happening, and it's an honor to be in this district. LAIF is a nonprofit partner of the Los Alamitos USD. Our mission is to prepare every child in our district for college and beyond. We enhance the educational excellence that is well established in LAUSD, and it is our honor to partner with you to support our kids. With great pleasure, I'd like to share some great things that are happening at LAIF. Spring after-school enrichment classes began on January 26th. We have 233 classes running, serving 1,560 kids at all 9 campuses. As a personal point, my children are enrolled in soccer, breakdance, art party, flag football, fun food factory, and the free Spanish class. And they love being able to go to a number of different activities right after school, but I love the convenience, the variety, and the affordability of these classes. We have a big fundraising event coming up, LAIF's Night Out. That's on Saturday, February 28th at 6 p.m. at the Seal Beach Tennis and Pickleball Center. The whole community is invited to attend this big party where we raise critical funds for Los Al kids. I especially enjoy the musical stylings of Flash Pants, I have to be honest. If you are unable to attend, please shop the online auction that launches Friday, February 13th. And if you're not interested in shopping the auction, please consider donating. Even $50 per family, will make a big impact on LAIF support for Los Al kids. Anything and everything helps support our mission. And you can visit laifforkids.org/LNO to participate. And of course, you're then probably wondering, where do all the fundraising dollars go? LAIF was able and absolutely thrilled to fund 90 innovation grants for the district for the 2025-2026 school year, totaling over $154,000. And we also donated stipends for 7 counseling interns at a total of $69,000. Since 2012, LAIF's total giving to the district is now over $3.6 million and counting, which is awesome. Thank you for your time and allowing me this opportunity to share some LAIF updates. And again, we thank the leaders and the staff within LAUSD as well as this board for your partnership and service. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mrs. Newton, and a neighbor too. I appreciate it very much. Next, we are going to go into the really exciting business part of our meeting. And so we're going to go into information and presentations. And next will be the presentation of the district's 2024-2025 financial audit. And Mrs. Schnur.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. Tonight, we are joined by Mr. Alan So from Eide Bailly. They are our district's independent auditing firm. He will be presenting the results of the 24-25 financial audit, including the auditor's opinion, key financial highlights, and any required communications to the board. So welcome, Alan.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Alan. I'm a senior manager that oversees the audit of the district. I'm here to present the audit results and also answer any questions at the end. Our audit can be broken out into 3 key pieces or 3 opinions. Our audit consists of the financial statements audit, the state compliance audit, and then the federal compliance audit. Under the financial statement audit, we audit the financial statements of the district after they close their books to ensure that it's free from material misstatements. During the audit, I'm pleased to announce that we issued an unmodified opinion on the audit, on the financial statements. Unmodified opinion is the highest opinion that a school district can get, meaning that the financial statements are free from material misstatements. In addition to the unmodified opinion, we also reviewed the district's internal controls, and we noted that we didn't find any internal control deficiencies. The next piece is the federal single audit or the federal awards, where we audit the federal programs of the district. We audit the program based on rotational basis. And this 24-25 fiscal year, we audited the child nutrition program. For the audit of the child nutrition program, we issued an unmodified opinion as well, meaning that the child nutrition program were free from any issues of compliance. So the district was in compliance with all the federal requirements for the program. And also, in addition to the review of the compliance, we also reviewed the internal controls for the program specific. And during our review of the child nutrition program, we did not notice any control deficiencies. The final piece of our opinion is based on state compliance. This audit is based on a state audit guide that's issued every year by the state. And we audited strictly from the state audit guide. And based on our audit of the programs and the audit guide of all the programs that are offered by the district, we did not notice any non-compliance. Therefore, we issued an unmodified opinion for state compliance as well. Any questions?
Well done. I have just a quick general question. So I run an organization, we go through an audit. And last year, there was a new requirement for us going through an audit where we had to show the security of our financial information and data. And does that come into play at all with a school audit?
It doesn't, because the school districts are audited under what we call GASB, which is Government Auditing Standards, and that requirement that you specified is under FASB, which is more for like the nonprofits and the other entities.
Great. Thank you very much for that answer. I appreciate that.
Before I end, I want to thank Elvia and her team for giving us all the documents. I know we request hundreds of documents, and her team is always responsive and always providing the documents in a timely manner. Without them, we wouldn't have been able to have a smooth audit. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And thank you for taking the time to be here this evening and to give us the report. We're very grateful for that. So that was the presentation of our financial audit, and then we will look to vote on that a little bit later. So next presentation is a presentation of the Local Control and Accountability Mid-Year Plan. And Mrs. Reed.
Thank you so much, President Hill. I'm actually going to be welcoming up our Director of Education Services, Melissa Davis. So Melissa handles completely the LCAP. She does a phenomenal job managing not only our document, but working with all of our stakeholders to really make sure that we have a comprehensive document that really supports not only how we're going to spend our money, but also tracks if our services are actually showing progress in the areas that we're monitoring. So, Melissa.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Good evening, President Hill, members of the board, Dr. Pulver, and cabinet. It's my pleasure tonight to give you the update, the mid-year update for the LCAP. Sorry, there we go. Before we kind of get into the nuts and bolts, just a reminder of the difference between LCFF and LCAP. LCFF, as you know, is our local control funding formula. So those are really the monies that we receive to help fund public education. And then the LCAP, the Local Control Accountability Plan, is really the plan that we write of how we're going to outline our goals and actions of how we're going to expend our LCFF funds. So the LCAP is the plan portion, and then the LCFF is the money portion. There's three different pots of money with LCFF. You have your base funding, your supplemental funding, and your concentration funds. So on the left there, you can see our LCFF base is really the funding level for all. So that's our average daily attendance and the amount we receive per grade span for students. On the right, you'll see our LCFF supplemental dollars, which is based on our district's unduplicated counts of students, which is our foster youth, English learner, and low income, and then unduplicated, meaning that they're only counting in one of those three subgroups, even if they are in more than one. So for 25-26, this current school year, our LCFF supplemental funds is about $3.4 million. And then as we develop our 26-27 LCAP, we'll be including our projections for next year. As a district in whole, we have a 17.63% of unduplicated students in LoSal, which is a little bit different than it was from last year. So the supplemental funds is what we use, those funds, to write the plan of how we're going to spend those. And so there is a third pot of funds called the LCFF concentration funds. As a district, we do not qualify for those. That's for districts that have an unduplicated count of 55% or higher. So just a quick overview of the LCAP. It's a 3-year plan that describes our actions, goals, and services and expenditures to support the positive student outcomes and address all of our state and local priorities. The LCAP provides an opportunity for districts to basically tell their story. So as a parent that's reading the LCAP, the whole idea is from our annual update through all of our metrics and stuff to kind of tell a story of who we are, what we're about, and what we're doing to address students. So the mid-year LCAP, which I'm presenting on tonight, is really looking at the 25-26 LCAP, and it's looking at all of our expenditure and implementation data so far this year, really to make sure that we are on track with what we said we're going to do before we start writing for next year. The first portion of the LCAP is the budget overview for parents. So last June, when we adopted the board approved our 25-26 LCAP, the budget overview for parents has a dollar amount for our LCFF funds in there, as well as our supplemental funds. And so you can see there when it was adopted, it was about $104 million of LCFF with about $3.59 million of funds for supplemental. So what we're just showing here is that it was adopted there. Once the actual budget, the annual state budget is formally adopted, sometimes there's a shift in those funds. And so on the right there, you'll see what our actual funds are, which was our supplemental funds went down just a little bit to $3.4 million. So when we review all of our mid-year data, what we're really looking at with our metrics in the LCAP in the middle of the school year, are our metrics known, unknown, or in progress? And so we went through, and anything that we're currently working on this school year that we don't have an actual metric that's reportable, we will show that as in progress. Anything unknown, which we actually don't have many, I don't think we have any unknowns. We've actually started implementing all of our actions so far. Majority of ours were known. And then we also looked at the expenditures and the implementation to see have we started them. Again, are they in progress or are they completed based off of the budget and where we are. So I am proud to report that for Goal 1 in our LCAP, which is exemplary teaching and learning, that we reviewed all of the goals, the metrics in the Goal 1, and that we determined that they are all in progress and on target. So really that Goal 1 for us talks about our professional development, our MAP assessments, and implementing, all being implemented as planned, and that all students have access to standards-aligned curriculum. You'll also see on the bottom there, we're still in process with Goal 1 and the implementation, and that the actual funds that we've expended so far are about $1.1 million, and we have $2.2 million, so we're right on track mid-year of expending all those funds. For Goal 2, our exemplary student outcomes, after reviewing the Goal 2 metrics for 25-26, it was determined that all metrics are again in progress and on target. Majority of our goal metrics, our metrics in Goal 2 are known because a lot of our metrics are based on 24-25 data. So like our CAS scores from last spring, because we won't have all those data, like all the data points from A through G completion, AP data, all that in time before we write this year. So you typically would use the year prior. As far as funds, for Goal 2, we've spent about $932,000 and we budgeted 1.6. So again, we're right on track at that midway point of expending those funds, and the implementation progress is still in progress. Lastly, Goal 3, again, all of our metrics in Goal 3 are in progress and on target. We'll continue to monitor our chronic absenteeism, which is also part of Goal 3 through the end of the school year. And a big portion of Goal 3 for us is our annual community partners survey that'll go out in March. So when we look at Goal 3 overall, it's in progress. We've expended about $1.2 million so far in Goal 3, and we've budgeted about 1.7. So again, we are on target and on track for Goal 3 implementation. So overall, we are implementing our 25-26 LCAP as planned. We are currently in the process of developing our 26-27 LCAP. We've had one DAC meeting so far back in January. So our next steps is we'll be sending out a community partners survey in March to all families. We're in the process right now of doing a deep dive into our dashboard. That's really what helps us write our annual update portion of the LCAP. And then we have our next district advisory committee meeting on April 20th. We are on track to have a draft of the LCAP available to all families, staff, and the board in May, and then we'll bring forward the 26-27 LCAP for board approval in June. Are there any questions?
Thank you, Mrs. Davis. Any questions for Mrs. Davis?
Yes. Hi. Thank you so much. I love this. I'm part of the DAC, so I've heard you presented, and every time you presented, I learned something new. So I really appreciate. I know in the past we've had some challenges with people participating in the LCAP survey. Are we doing anything to encourage family participation?
So we are in the process of brainstorming all those pieces as we speak. So we, last year, I think Mr. Bragman had brought up looking at doing like a friendly, not competition, but like a reward of some sort of incentive at the sites for classroom participation and stuff. So we, that's definitely something that we're thinking of looking at in partnership with us also with Nicole as far as getting out in front of everything with the principals and the newsletters and getting out there. We traditionally, it's ebbs and flows, I think, as I shared last year with the board on our participation. And so we have seen that went down a few years ago, but it's starting to kind of come back up. So we're trying to, market it as best as we can.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Yes.
Great job. Thank you. And this was a mid-year presentation, so there'll be no vote at this point in time.
Correct.
Thank
Just
you very
information.
much,
Thank you.
Mrs. Davis. All right, we are now moving on to our consent items. And I have consent items 10A through AC. I don't see any polls. Are there any polls? Okay, I would like a motion for approval.
So move.
Second?
I'll second.
Okay, you pick which one, Mrs. D'Angelo. So moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0. Now we move on to action items, and Dr. Reese-Wright will have items A, B, C, D, and E. We can start with A. I caught him off guard.
I'm sorry. Thank you, Madam President. Yes, tonight we are bringing forward first reading of board policy, we're on 11A, is that right?
11A, yes.
First reading of our board policy on comprehensive safety plan that reflects updates that were recommended from CSBA and the philosophical statement that in addition to high expectations for student conduct, there are high expectations for staff conduct as well. Additionally, the policy is updated to reflect legislative intent to provide staff training on the comprehensive school safety plan.
Thank you. And these, I just want to also make clear that all of the policies that we're looking at are existing policies, and these are updates as were recommended by CSBA. Do I have a motion for 11A?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Any questions or concerns? Okay. Then I will call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Second, we'll move to 11B, which is policy 4158, employee security.
Madam President, if you want, with employee board policies, they're largely the same, but differ if it's for certificated, classified, or non-represented employees. So you'll probably see that B, C, and D are pretty much the same, just for different groups of employees. If you want to bring them all together, that would be an option for the board to consider.
Okay. Dr. Reese-Wright, do you have anything to share on those? And then we'll look at taking...
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Madam President. So for our three different employee groups, this revision is updated to authorize collective bargaining representatives to seek restraining orders on behalf of employees facing workplace violence or threats, to incorporate Executive Order 14127 on school-based active shooter drill guidance, and to align references with current law, including updates from the Labor Code to the Government Code.
Great. So I would look for a motion for 11B, C, and D to take all together, if everybody was good with that.
So move.
Discussion? I do have a question. I did notice in there, and I read very quickly, and I could have read it incorrectly, but it talked about pepper spray, and that pepper spray we don't allow our employees to have pepper spray on their person on school sites. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
Okay. And is that anything we've ever educated Anybody on? Because I would imagine that there are some people that just
Have it on their keychain or.
Yeah, have it on their keychain or whatever.
I don't know of any specific education that we've given to employees about it, but it's certainly something that now that it's reflected in our board policy, we can add to our safe, when Ms. Garcia does our school safety plans with each of our principals to make sure that that's included.
Great. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
You got it.
So I have a first and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? B, C, and D passes 5-0. Now we're moving on to E, and that is approval of the first reading of revised board policy 3112.3. And Dr. Reese-Wright.
Yes, this board policy is on uniform complaint procedures. The policy updates clarify that discrimination or harassment may be based on multiple protected characteristics, align protected characteristics definitions with current law, prohibit the use of mediation in complaints that involve sexual assault, add instructional materials and curriculum, diversity and school or athletic team names, mascots as uniform complaint procedure categories, and reflect recent Title IX legal updates, confirming that pre-August 1st, 2024 Title IX regulations apply, consistent with OCR guidance to sexual harassment complaints involving conduct between August of 2020 and July of 2024 on or after January 9th, 2025. Essentially, it makes sure that our policy is reflective of the current Title IX guidance that has made adjustments for any incidents that happened within those specific time periods.
Thank you, Dr. Reese-Wright. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. And then I'd also just like to, we had discussed before, this was the first reading of a policy. That's the way that it works with school districts. And if we had had any changes or needed any clarification or anything like that, that would come back in the second reading. Since we did no changes or anything, I would just suggest that maybe these can go into consent in our next one rather than having to bring them up in action items. Dr. Pulver, is that reasonable?
You got it. We can absolutely put them, since they've already been formally approved as an action item. But we can do the second reading of the board policy and consent at the March board meeting.
Great. Thank you so much for Dr. Pulver.
Thank you.
Okay. Next, we are looking at 11F and Mrs. Schneer. I'm like, she's leaving. She can't be leaving. No. Not yet.
Not yet. Thank you, Madam President. Good evening. Today, I am honored to present our 26-27 forward funding plans. I bring this forward every year, and every year I am impressed and just amazed on how amazing our community is when it comes to forward funding. I begin working with every school site sometime in November, where principals need to start working with either their friends of, their PTA, to come up with a goal and their implementation plans on how they're going to fund any staffing positions in the following year. The grand total of our forward funding plan, it's about $435,000. That's an amazing contribution from our community to continue to support our students in areas, for example, Hopkinton is continuing to fund a part-time media STEM teacher, a media center technology IA, as well as a part-time PE IA. This is the same as last year, but as you know, our March 15 deadline is coming up, so that's the reason why we're bringing forward this plan now, so we can make sure to continue to solidify these staff members going forward. So it's impressive. So this is Hopkinton. The next one we have is Project LEAP, continuing to fund a STEM teacher, part-time STEM teacher, and a part-time media center IA. Los Alamitos Elementary School, they're friends of LAE, same as last year, a part-time media center STEM teacher and a part-time PE IA. Project SEEK at McGaw is also forward funding a part-time media STEM teacher, a part-time media technology IA, as well as LAIF continues to support McGaw with a part-time art lab teacher. Yes, Dr.
I just want to clarify. go back to McGraw. Project Seek actually funds it. LAIF does not. LAIF becomes the employer versus the school district. It becomes a little bit of a more economical pathway for some of our friends of groups, but I didn't want people to think that LAIF is supporting McGraw over another school. LAIF is just being the employer for that.
I really
Absolutely.
appreciate that clarification. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Bolivar. Friends of Weaver and PTA is continuing to fund a part-time STEM teacher, a Media Center IA, and a PE IA as well. And Friends of Rossmore, also a contract with LAIF to support a part-time STEM lab teacher. And then LAIF continues to be an amazing support system for our schools. Again, like it was mentioned earlier during the public comments, STEM and innovation grants for all sites of $154,000 for the fiscal year 25-26. Overall, since 2016, $846,000 has been donated from LAIF to all of our school sites. They continue to support mental health donations. This year in 25-26, they donated $82,000. Grand total since 2017, $722,000. Impressive, and I couldn't be more thankful for their generosity. And with that, I ask for approval of the forward funding plans for 26-27.
Wonderful.
Any questions?
I will look for a motion.
So move.
Second?
I'll second.
Great. Discussion?
I just wanted to actually, I think this is a great opportunity to come back to the conversation we had earlier about open houses. When you see those STEM expos and you saw the artwork and that we all talked about and we saw Rossmore share about, that's possible because of this forward funding. When you see these STEM teachers and you walk into their classes, and a lot of these folks are not there 5 days a week and they're not there full time, but they sure give more than we could ever ask for. So huge shout out and thank you to these STEM teachers, these art teachers. And we always talk about the donations at the end, but the donations are really what make the magic happen in this district. So thank you to everyone for allowing us to be in this place.
Well put, Mr. Bragman. Anybody else? I think we can all second Mr. Bragman.
Yes.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0. Thank you. Mrs. Schnur, now we're going to approve the financial audit.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. As you heard earlier today, the financial audit is clean. We have no audit findings, and we request approval. But before I do that, I would really like to thank Tim Golden, our Director of Fiscal Services, as well as his entire team of Fiscal Services, because it really does take a lot of time to prepare the documents and submit them to the audit. And just to not have any findings, it's amazing. So great job, Fiscal Services. Thank you.
It absolutely is. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Any other discussion?
We love a clean audit.
Amazing job. Really appreciate it. Yep. And I did learn, as long as I've been on this board, I didn't realize that the federal portion of the audit is a program that's picked. It's not everything. That was news to me today, so we can always learn and get better. So I have a first, I have a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Passes 5-0. Now approval of warrants, 56 pages. The warrants are the checkbook of the district, and so as board members, part of our responsibility and fiscal responsibility is making sure that all the money that comes into the district is budgeted correctly and then spent correctly. And so do I have a motion to approve the warrants?
Second.
First and second, any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Passes 5-0. We will now move on to what seems to be many of our topics this evening, which is donations. So this is the acceptance of donations. And Mrs. Schneer, is this where some of the forward funding is showing up?
Yes, absolutely. You will see quite a few there, like the first one, Hopkinson, that's their forward funding. Some of them came in earlier. Project Seek, $100,000, that's forward funding, but we did receive some in December.
Great, thank you. And I do remember from being in that position that it was always a little stressful to understand that we had to fundraise for the whole next year because of the responsibility of making sure that staff was coming back and so on and so forth. So thank you for that. So with that, we have a total monetary donations of $301,832 and some change year to date. And we are only in February, $806,000 and some change. Do I have a motion?
So move.
A second? Second. Great. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye. It'd be very funny if somebody said, no, we're not going to accept donations. So now we are going to, this is 11, J, and K. We'll take them together. It's the classified personnel report and the certificated personnel report. Dr. Reese-Wright.
Thank you, Madam President. Yes, the two personnel reports reflect the changes since our last board meeting, and we recommend approval as submitted.
Thank you. Do I have a motion?
So move.
A second?
Second.
Any comment?
Yeah, I have a comment. Congratulations to HR. I mean, all the numerous IAs for special ed and then the huge number of substitutes for classroom teachers. Great job.
Anything else? Anything else that stands out to anybody? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Passes 5-0. We have now finished the business part of our meeting, and we will return to closed session. We're returning to closed session at 7:32. We will come back out if there is, we will come out back out, period. But if there's anything to report, I'll report at that time. Thank you.